What's up, guys? Traffic from Polygon Gaming coming at you for another quick tutorial. This one gonna be how I broke into Masters and cheesing the fuck out of Terrans Part 2. So, yeah. It's gonna be pretty similar to my last tutorial, except for the fact that today I'm gonna be showcasing 10 replays and they're all gonna be against Masters players. So a little bit higher level. A little bit more higher level, and I'm going to be playing against a variety of different Terran openers, and I'm going to be using the same cheese every single time that I've been using exclusively in this matchup, and I'm going to show you guys basically the ins, the outs, and it's going to be great. So without any further ado, let me show you the build order. So, I got it here. So yeah, it's a very simple build order, which is part of the strength of this. It's, you know, basically as long as you are packing a really big punch in the early game, this is basically usually hitting around 520. I mean, there's not much room for error here. Usually the more high level players, they're able to get advantages as the game goes longer, because the longer that the game goes on, the better player is going to have an advantage. But this build hits so fast that it's really hard to fuck it up. So anyway, I'll just go over the replay here quickly, and then we'll jump into a custom and I'll show you how it's done. So it's a 17 hatch first, and then into gas and pool, and you make 2 queens and 4 to 6 lings. At 100 gas, you're going to pull out. At 28 supply, you send a drone to the third base. You're going to need to basically force the Reaper back if it's a Reaper opener. And we're droning to exactly 38 drones, which is 16 on both mineral patches in the main and the natural, and 6 guys in gas. So 2 gases and 2 fully saturated mineral lines. And yeah, as it shows here in the third box, at 330, we want to put back in gas in the main. And around the same time, when we get to 11 drones in the natural, we take our second gas geyser. And when we reach 50 gas, we make a bay nest. And as soon as we reach our economy size, we are injecting with 3 queens, and we're non-stop ling bane production. Alright. So let's jump into some replays, and let me show you how this goes down here. The first thing I'm actually going to do is I am going to hop into a custom, and I'm just going to do the build, and I'm going to explain it while I'm doing it. So this is going to be pretty good for some of you lower level players, but as for the higher level players that might not want to watch this part, there are going to be timestamps in the description. So you could just jump to whichever Terran opener you're having the most difficulty with. This map used to be great when it had the gold base. Do I have the sound turned off? No, it's just interface. Okay. So, we're just going to jump into a custom. This is usually how I start off my ladder sessions anyway. It's always good to basically warm up the macro. Make sure that you don't miss your first inject by like 25 energy. It's better to do that in an empty custom game than to head into a real ladder game and end up missing your first inject by that much. So, starting off on Blood Boil, it's going to be a hatch first. I'm going to send my first overload here to look for the 2 racks or a proxy factory. Then I go over here, and then I go over here. That's going to be where I want to scout from. And as for my second overlord, I'll send it over here to look for other proxies. So yeah, the first 2 overlords, pretty important that you know where you're going to send them without having to think about it. Even better. That way you can focus on pairing your drones on the mineral patches and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just going to be a very simple standard opener here. Maybe I'm a little bit of a weird Zerg. I haven't really watched that many professional matches on this map, but I don't really like to take the back base because it only has 1 gas geyser. So this is usually my 4th base, and this is usually my 3rd base. So yeah, basically we just take the gas and then the pool, and we rally any additional drones into the geyser. So this is basically a completely standard opener so far. And that is one of the things which does make this opener kind of deadly, is it does look pretty standard to the Terran, unless they are really looking for the signs. It starts off really standard, and it gets quite tricky pretty quick. So I'm going to send my third Overlord over here. And then I probably want an Overlord here as well, basically all around my base. So yeah, drawing up to 20, and then the next 4 larvae will be for the next 2 larvae will be for 4 lings. Start my first queen. Queen, always start the queen before the lings because it starts to build energy. So there's 4 lings. Okay. Now we're gonna pull out a gas. Boom, 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 and then start our speed upgrade. We've drawn up to 28 supply. Now at this point, the Reaper might be showing up, so we need to keep that in mind. And we kind of have to try and force that Reaper back while putting down the third base. Okay. Got the third base down. Perfect. Now we drone up. Spend the larva as soon as you can. Immediately. That's very important when you're playing Zerg, to spend your larva immediately. Now I did start my 31 OV. As soon as I start the 31 OV, I actually have some larvae here, but I want to start my third queen and then spend the larva. This queen can just lay a tumor here and then go to the third base. That'll also kind of hide my build because he sees that I'm spreading creep and I'm building more queens. So usually I'm not going to be going all in after doing something like that. As you can see, this Overlord actually arrived here pretty much on time. It's 3:30, so it's time to scout. So yeah, just trying to spend my larva as quick as I can. 3:30, back in gas. Oops, a little bit late on the gas and the natural, unfortunately. There's that, oops, also late on the creep tumor. So I'm not a perfect player, but it's pretty much what you want to be doing. Need a couple more drones, and then we can start our ling production. 50 gas, start the Bane Nest. So as you can see, I'm going to be injecting on 3 hatcheries here. And I'm starting my ling production. Looks like I missed a couple of drones in my natural, so I'll just make those, because I'm a stickler for perfection. Start a couple Overlords. Usually 1 Overlord per inject cycle is a good idea. And there's different kind of micro tricks you have to do depending on the opener that you're playing. Like I'll teach you how to play against helions. But as for now, we'll just pretend like we're playing a 2-1-1 opener. So I guess if it was 2-1-1, he wouldn't even have his medevacs leaving his base yet. And I'm taking those Banelings immediately out of the control group and putting them on a separate control group so I can light with them better. My injects have been pretty bad. I missed them by like 13 seconds, but what are you going to do? And here we go. So, as you guys can see, I have no money. If you do this build correctly, and you're able to morph your Banelings close to their base, as you should, then it's really good to spend your money, because as many Banelings as you morph, it's going to be killing your minerals. And as long as you're injecting on 3 bases, you should be able to spend your minerals pretty easily. And so yeah, we basically just killed them. So let's exit and I'll show you guys some real games. As usual, feel free to ask your questions in the comments. I always love to answer questions. Okay, so the first replay I'm actually going to show you is going to be the promotion replay, and then we're going to switch over to North America and I'll show you some over there. This one's actually going to cause me to have to go offline for a second because it's an old one, but considering this is titled How I Broke Into Masters, so this guy was, I think, around 4780 to 48 MMR. So yeah, yeah, let's watch it. Oh, did I label that? I think this guy went for a 2-1-1, but we'll see. Oops. It's a previous version of the game. Hopefully OBS is going to grab it. It was grabbing it earlier. Just take a second here. Yep, there it is. Okay. So here we go on Odyssey, I guess. Speed it up a little bit because there are going to be 10 of these guys. And as I said, the replays will be timestamped, so you guys can just jump to whatever opener you're most interested in. As I have been playing this opener exclusively against every single Terran that I match. My experience is that this opener has a very high skill cap in terms of the fact that if you micro your lings and your bailings very well, you can go very far with it. My micro is, I'd say, average for my skill level. So what I've found is that as I was moving through Diamond, like Diamond 3, Diamond 2, even up to Diamond 1, I was pretty much knocking Terrans over quite easily. For a while, it was my best matchup. However, as I started to hit into Masters players, yes, I am starting to take losses. I'm not sure if it's the build order's fault, because, you know, these guys are just better players than me. So yeah, I will be adding more variety to my play. Although I've basically been doing this for the last maybe month or two, maybe longer. So I have finally reached the point where I want to start trying other builds, like going back to standard macro. But it's definitely been a fun ride, and one of the great things about this build is like I said, it really made my Ling Bane micro much better. And it also taught me to micro against helions, because that's a very frequent thing that you face. As you can see, this Terran going for, looks like Reactor helions. Let's speed this up a bit. So yeah, this was played a little bit a while ago. During that time, I was a little bit off with the gas timing and the natural. I was taking it around 15 or 16, and then I realized like I need to be taking it at the same time every game and not just doing random stuff. It's okay to change it around a little bit. You can try taking the guys that are a little bit earlier. You can try taking it a little bit later. But the key thing is that you want to be taking it at the same time every game, and not just doing it randomly, so that each one of your games is going to have the same feel to it. So yeah, as you can see here, I'm probably going to be a little bit late on the gas, but we get there. And this guy went for a helion run by this game. So I'm just going to have to try and mitigate the damage as much as possible. I wasn't expecting this, I guess. So he does get 8 drones, which is pretty fantastic for 2 helions and a Reaper. And he's making more helions. So I do have to mention, this is kind of like one of the worst case scenarios. You don't want to be facing like a mass helion when you're going for this. However, this Terran is doing what many different Terrans do on ladder, high level and low level alike, and that is after a certain amount of helions, they pull out. And they switch their factory and they start making Marines off the reactor. So if you can surround those helions and they don't make additional ones, the Terran can get in trouble. However, look at this, man. This starts off pretty nice. I think I'm getting this around going here. But man, sometimes it looks like you can get a few lings in there and line them up, man. Only one ling attacking those helions, and it's just brutal. But this is actually pretty common. Actually, one second. Let me turn the sound down because I'm not actually streaming, so it's more important you hear my voice than the game sounds. So this is actually pretty common, that they will kill your first wave of lings with their initial helions. But you know, you're on 3 hatchery ling production, so you just keep making lings, and eventually you need to surround the helions, because you can't really morph the bailings until all the helions are pretty much dead. So you just need to keep making lings and hope to have better micro than they do. So as you can see, like, I lost that first round of lings, but I'm just still trying to go for the surround and get those 2 helions out of here. And also at this point, after losing all those lings, I can't just transition to macro. Like, you need to do more damage. So yeah, this guy doesn't really seem to understand that he's being cheesed, or he doesn't really understand what's going on here. He's just going the double eBay. He's got like a whole bunch of barracks like powering up here. And yeah, his factory isn't on the reactor, so that's going to be the big thing here. That's going to hurt him. And yeah, I basically put my Banelings into 2 groups because I don't want them all coming in at once in case there's a Widow Mine or splash damage from the helions. So just bust down that depot and get in there with the links. I'm immediately morphing more Banelings because I know that in order to win this game I either need to kill a lot of SCVs or kill this depot to get into his main. And one of the things is, if you're doing this, one of the ways that you can get even if you can't end the game is kill all the SCVs in the natural and the 2 E-base. Well, yeah, this is what used to happen, like when I was playing opponents that were a little bit lower level, and basically, like, you can just kill them most of the time. So yeah, he's pretty much dead. There's nothing else he can do. And that was the game that got me into Masters. I was pretty happy. So let me show you guys a few more openers. Drop on NA. The best player that I've been using a variation of this opener is 5200 MMR. So we're just going to log on to North America, and I'm going to show you guys how to play this against a tank opener, how to play it against 2-1-1, how to play it against a Mass Reaper. So, yeah, I'll probably show this one first. It's actually not the cheese, but if they're playing against if you're playing against a 3-Rax Reaper opener, you can't really go for the Ling Bane cheese because Banelings are actually not good against Mass Reaper. You would rather just have Mass Lings and Queens and 1 or 2 Spine Crawlers. So I'll show you how I react to a Mass Reaper play. Basically, one of the great things about this cheese is it sets you up to go into a macro game because you're getting the faster 3rd base at 28 supply, and you're getting the 3rd queen. This guy was actually random, 4700 MMR random player, but his Terran is 5206, and he's playing Terran, so this was not an easy victory. So yeah, here's the same build, and not much to say. You basically just keep 16 drones on minerals and rally into gas. And 19 Overlord, 20 drone. He's going for the 3-Rax Reaper, as you can see. I assume he knows what he's doing in terms of the barracks timing. I don't really play 3-Rax Reaper when I off-race, so looks pretty legit to me. As soon as you see the 2nd or 3rd Reaper, that's pretty much your tell. You can rally your first Overlord in there, but it's questionable. You could go here to there. The thing is, like, if he goes Marine and you escape to here with your Overlord, which I assume you can do, then he knows exactly where your Overlord is, so he can hide his buildings from your scouting. Whereas if you come in from this angle with your Overlord, you're going to be able to get a great scout on, but you won't know about the 3-Rax Reaper. You're basically going to have to tell it's 3-Rax Reaper from the Reapers showing up to your base. So I don't really know yet. That Reaper dies, which is really weird for someone going 3-Rax Reaper. And as soon as I see these 2 Reapers, I pretty much know what's going on. And so my typical response is 2 Spine Crawlers, 1 in the main, 1 in the natural. Although it really depends. Sometimes you can get away with just 1 in the natural. And you also want to start extra Queens immediately. So here, I want to inject my Queen in the main, but I'm probably going to end up being forced to bring it down because I really need that 2nd Queen down there. And I don't want this Queen to die, and this shit kind of snowballs. Because I did so much damage to those Reapers, that's actually really good for me. Like right here, normally I wouldn't chase, but because I did some damage to those, I'm trying to hunt down the weak Reapers and kill them. I think I might have gotten 1, but even so, like 2 of those Reapers are near to death, so I'm just rallying out. Normally this will be like a bit of a mistake. You don't really want to rally your Lings into the Reapers because they'll just kill all the Lings pretty quickly. And also the bombs can be pretty devastating. You normally have to wait a little bit longer to break out. But like I said, a lot of his Reapers are damaged, so I'm basically just rallying these Lings out and hoping to kill those weak Reapers. Basically what this comes down to is you have to basically maintain as high of a draw count as you can while defending the Reapers. Because it's got almost all the Terrans end up transitioning at some point, as this guy is doing. So as you can see, my drone count isn't really that hot, but I have the 3 queens, and another queen in production, and 3 hatcheries, and he doesn't have a 3rd CC stirred yet, so this isn't a terrible position for me at all. And yeah, like I was saying, because you have 3 hatcheries, you have the ability to produce 3 queens at a time, and basically get into a nice macro game. He hunted down one of those queens because I was a little bit sloppy. This was actually a pretty good trade for him, but I ended up removing his Reapers eventually. They're pretty annoying. He's using this cliff to his advantage, trying to bait me into the bombs. I have Lings on the high ground and the low ground. That's one of the things about fighting against Reapers. You do want to use the control group steal. Don't just use one control group. Always use 2 control groups of Lings to surround them. Or you just click really well with your mouse and use 1 control group. But it really depends, whatever floats your boat. I use both methods, but typically 2 control groups are the best way for me. So yeah, this is basically going to transition into a long macro game. I'm not really yeah, like I'm on 46 drones, 50 drones. My upgrades are a bit faster. So I'm not really sure what else we can learn from this game. We might just watch it on ×8. Here I forgot my Bay Nest. Kind of funny, considering I was originally deciding to do a Bane Cheese. So because I forgot my Bay Nest, I basically needed to produce way more Lings than I originally intended. And so this kind of got a bit of a problem. Like right now I'm basically in pretty big trouble from these Marines. So what I've done is I've actually pulled all my queens to the front because I need them. And as I pull my queens, I'm going to start additional queens so I can start injecting. I'm like, shit, I just lost all my queens at the front. And I need to pull my queens so I don't die to this. So I'll start more queens so that I can keep injecting and keep spraying creep. And in this situation, I have more than enough Lings to kill the Marines, so I start targeting down the medevacs with the queens. And there's the Bane speed. Started a bit late. You definitely want to get that Bane speed started pretty much ASAPly against the bio play. So yeah, 63 drones, a little bit low on the drones, but my creep spread is pretty damn nice this game. So I guess I can kind of mention my hotkey setup. I use 2 for my main army, 3 for my Baelings so that they don't all crash into Marauders. And then I use number 1 is my Queens or my Corruptors. And number 4 is my drop defense. Number 5 is my Hatcheries, and number 6 are all my Queens. So I have recently switched all my hatcheries to 5 so I can have 4 open control groups for units. It's been very helpful for me. I heard Destiny did that years ago. And yeah, it's definitely a good idea. If you're a Zerg player, definitely consider switching your hatcheries to 5 so you can have 4 control groups open. I've reached 70 drones, and I did kind of forget my Spire this game, but it worked out anyway. A little bit of a later Spire. It just means that I'm going to need really good drop defense squads, and he does task my multitasking. Man, this is only one of the first replays. We better zoom through this. So at this point, I actually have 3 control groups of Ling Bane. My main army, and 2 control groups because he's doing triple prong drop, which is pretty common. And I'm definitely taking quite some damage here. So I've gone ahead and remade all those drones. I've probably lost like 20 or 30 or even like 35. Does shift L work? Oh, I'm on NA and I don't have that interface on. Oh, that's a shame. I'll switch to it next game. But yeah, I've basically been remaking drones this whole time. And I lost quite a few. However, I am slowly making my way to 3-3 Ultras and Infestors, which is the ultimate endgame comp, which I feel like I can't lose with. So yeah, I'm just kind of powering through this game here. Like, I kind of want to show you guys the rest of this game, but I mean, it's another like 15 minutes, so I don't really think it's necessary. This basically shows that if you're playing against a 3 Rex Reaper player, you basically abort mission. Don't go back and gas. Just drone up a bit more. Make a bunch of Lings and Queens to defend the Reapers, and then transition to a standard macro game. Alright, let me show you guys a few more. I will show you guys the losses. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll throw those in at the end to see how it can go wrong. Yeah, and we'll just go through here. So here is a very common question that I get whenever I talk about this cheese is people post and they're like, oh, I'll just build a tank and it defends it easily. Well, not exactly. Definitely the tank can be a little bit tricky to play against. However, usually when I play tank, I win. So it could just be my opponents are not playing their opener correctly. But this is definitely not a free win-loss against a tank opener. However, what you need to do when you play a tank is don't make the Baylings. You need to figure out he's going tank and transition to double Evo Mass Queens. So here we go. Whenever I play Zerg on this map, I take the front base so I can spread my creep spread from here. It's very nice to start your creep spread from the outer base. This first Overlord is going to go check the ramp for the 3 Rex Reaper, and then this is a nice ledge to hide on. Second Overlord, I'm going to go out here, maybe even over here, so I can have a second scout into the main later on. So yeah, this guy is a mech player, and he's doing a little bit of a weird opener. But he's quite high level. Definitely like easily Master 3 or Master 2. And I did watch this replay after to make sure he wasn't a map hacker. But it looks like he just does this shit like every game. He goes for a fast tank. So as you can see, I just checked there and I saw the tank shoot. So I don't know if I noticed just yet. Let's see what my reaction is. Yeah, I'm basically making the links. I'm going for my little timing. As you can see, 16 in the natural, 16 in the main, Bane Nest on the way, injecting off 3 bases. Haven't missed my injects that bad. This streamer is pretty much moving every single time. And we're just massing the Lings, baby. We're just massing the Lings. Boom! That Ling gets shot down. More Lings coming in. For some reason, I'm like, oh, we need to really make sure he's going tanks. Boom, and I'm like, okay, there's no way I'm getting up that ramp. And so what I do here is, hopefully I go double Evo and take the gold. So we have made 43 Lings, which seems like quite a lot, but those Lings are actually going to keep us safe and make it so that he can't just move out of his base that easily. If he tries to move out early, then I can just surround him and kill him with the Lings. So this is basically going to give me the license to drone that I've seen these tanks. And this guy is like a super hardcore camper. Some of the good Terrans, like they'll at least try and put some pressure on you while going tanks. But this guy is playing so defensively that he's really giving me the license to do whatever I want. And so I'm using all these Lings I made to kill the rocks. Don't send all your Lings on this side. I've lost so many games doing that, or at least one game. You want your main pack of Lings to be over here so you can defend your bases if he does some kind of Hellbat cheese or something like that. So just a few Lings on this side of the rocks so I can kill them quicker. And I'm taking the gold base while transitioning into double Evo and Roach Warren, because at this point I figured out that he's going mech. Or I'm pretty sure he's going mech. Part of the problem with me only scouting with one Overlord is that I don't really get that double scout, but it's a little bit of a trade-off, because if you have 2 or 3 Overlords around his base and he goes for a Viking, you lose them all. So yeah, basically taking that gold base, droning up, and my composition against mech is Roach, Hydra, Swarm Host, and with Vipers added in from the Hive. I'm not exactly sure in what order you want to get that stuff, but I definitely feel like Roach, Hydra, Swarm Host, Viper is a really good composition against mech. So yeah, because of the fact that he's open tank, and this guy is no scrub. I mean, he's just a slow mecher, and because he open tank, I basically have a huge economy. I only have 65 drones, but considering I have a fully mining gold base, that might as well be like 80 drones, I think. So very, very powerful gold base on this map. And I basically have lings at all his potential bases, so I know when he's going to move out. And you have to be careful how quickly you go into the Swarm Hosts, because they can just run you over with their mech army, so you need quite a good amount of roaches to hold them back while you go into Swarm Hosts and Hive and that kind of stuff. Starting my 5th base, because I basically have $1 million already at 180 supply, because good shit. And yeah, basically just trying to get rid of these lings in a cost-efficient manner. Forced to cancel on his 4th base because he didn't build it over here and then float it over. And here I'm just going to give away a bunch of units from bad pathing. Oh, it's on 40 again. Interesting. Yeah, just bad pathing there. Here I'm trying to get as close as possible with the Swarm Host before I release their wave, and typically I try and target down tanks. You have to be really careful if you don't do any damage with the Locust, because it takes so long for them to recharge that they can just unsiege their tanks and just attack you, and it's pretty badass. So yeah, I'm just getting my ultimate army, Roach, Hydra, Viper, Swarm Host, as I said. I don't know, I think I made too many Swarm Hosts this game. I'm not really sure. I would try 13 to 16. I'm just kind of playing with the number. If you have too much Swarm Hosts, then you will die when they're recharging. That's the problem. So yeah, just making some Hydras to deal with Liberators. Doing my best to pull in the important units into my main army. And yeah, he secured his 4th base, but I've taken even more bases. I really should be spreading my creep a bit better. Starting some spine crawlers in case I lose a big battle and I need some defense at home to remax in time. And I'm just trying to get some value out of my Swarm Hosts and my Vipers. This guy got that helion skin. Not a big fan of the skins, honestly. And this is going to be one of his pretty much hardcore pushes. He's at 190 supply. He's pretty close to max out. And here comes his move out. And let's see what his upgrades. Yeah, +2 mech, and he's got the planetary upgrade. So this is definitely like one of those harder pushes to stop. And so I'm just trying to buy time, send out the Locust Wave. Now, I guess the idea is as you send in the Locust Wave as fodder, then you attack with your main army so that the Locusts basically soak up all the shots. And then I'm just going to try and get a good Blinding Cloud. That Blinding Cloud was really clutch for this battle. It's good to have 2 groups of Blinding Clouds, so it's also good to have 2 groups of Vipers so that you can have 1 group charging and 1 group attacking. So I have my main army on 2, my Swarm Hosts on 3, and my Vipers on 1 and 4. So, so also, even if both groups of Vipers were charged, I could also get Blinding Clouds from 2 different sides, which is nice. So yeah, that was pretty much one of the pivotal engages of this game. And I think we can just move on to the next one. Let's see what else we got. I might just cut this short and do like 3 or 4 more, because if I do 10, like, this is way too long. But we'll see. We'll see. I also have to show you guys a couple losses. Let's see here. Okay, this guy tried to go for a fancy tech opener and just got rolled over. It's also on Sequencer, one of the larger maps, I would say. So let's see what his opener was. I guess it was Reaper into Reactor Helion and Reactor Starport for Liberators. Which, I guess it used to be common when the Liberators were first introduced. It used to be a very popular 2v2 opener. I don't really know if it's that popular 1v1, but who am I to tell this guy how to play? He's a much better Terran than I am. So there's the expansion on the low ground and the factory. And no doubt the Reactor. So single Reaper opener. And this guy had pretty good Reaper control as I remember. So yeah, as you can see, they don't always allow you to get the 28 hatchery for free. You kind of have to bully the Reaper back and just micro the drone around. He was going to kill the drone, so I made an extractor. Unfortunately, I didn't want to finish the extractor, and as soon as I canceled it, he killed the drone. So good focus fire by him. In this kind of situation, sometimes you can just take another third base, especially if it's of equal distance. Like, I could have just taken this one, especially because I don't need the 2 gases, since I'm going to be cheesing him anyway. But I really don't like those 1 gas bases as a Zerg player. So he does end up getting his Reaper killed, which is a shame by him. And he's going Reactor Helions, so I can basically let you guys know here the micro against Helions, which you're going to need to do. And it's quite intimidating. Like, I've been working my way through the Diamond ranks, and as soon as I start to hit Masters players, I gotta tell you, you see that Master logo, and it's quite intimidating to think, I'm actually going to go for a Lingbane cheese, and this guy is going Mass Helions. And I'm going to beat him by out-controlling him. And it definitely helps on your link control, that's for sure. So the trick is, you basically control steal a small amount of lings. So even like 4 to 6 lings is enough, but it needs to be a big enough group so that whatever the amount of Helions that they have, they can't just kill all the lings in one shot. But for this amount of Helions, 4 to 6 lings, and then you basically click that small group of lings past the Helions while trying to surround the Helions with your big group of lings. But in this case, I just don't have enough lings, so I need to run away. So I really should have had 1 ling in front of my army, so I didn't lose 4 lings immediately there. But this is the best thing I could have done, which is basically lead his Helions on a wild goose chase and run away, while my other lings are basically coming over here. I know that I need to kill all of his Helions before I can make the Baylings. So I'm going to be looking for that surround at whatever cost. Like I said earlier, this is actually pretty common, that the Terrans will make 4 to 6 to 8 Helions, and then they'll fly their factory and put a barracks on the Reactor, which is basically great for you as long as they don't have like the best Helion micro ever. As long as you can kill those Helions, then they won't have additional ones coming. And if they don't have the factory on a reactor, they won't be able to make Widow Mines either. So here's that microchip I was telling you guys about. I've selected these 5 Zerglings, and I'm just move commanding them to distract the Helions while going for the surround of my big pack. And there it is. And again, I'm going to do the same thing probably. Well, maybe even go on my vision. Let's have a look here. Injects, that's important. Alright, I guess I wasn't really looking much. Oh yeah, so I kind of did it. Like, he killed all of the lings that were in my control group 1. Like, these 5 lings, they all died earlier. That's another control steal. So I basically just go like Alt-1 on my keyboard. I normally have a keyboard cam, but not today. So I just go Alt-1, and then steal another 5 lings, so I get in front of the Helions. And then just keep doing that as they die. So no need to show off my hand here. Just send off those small group of lings while morphing my Baylings over here. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but just trying to be a little bit sneaky. And so yeah, this guy is basically powering up barracks and E-base for the late game. But there will not be a late game. I think it's 4 or 5. Shit, I should know this. I think it's, what? Is it 4 Bailings for a depot? And then make sure, like, in most cases, unless I'm facing mass marine, I want the Bailings on a separate control group. So as soon as they smash through that depot, I move command them. And I send them to wherever the most important group of units is. So, yeah. In that case, oops. In that case, I'll basically send those Bailings into the depot. Like in this case, these Bailings were meant for this depot. And I'll just make additional Bailings down here. These Lings will, I'll pretty much do the same trick, like steal control group 1, and I'll leave like 10 Lings in the natural, bust down this depot, and send my main army into the main so I can kill all these SCVs too. Because I'm greedy like that, I like to kill everything. Alright, let's see what else we got here. So that was a kind of a tech opener with helions and liberators. This is kind of like a greedy helion marine opener. It's pretty similar to what we just saw. So maybe we skip that one. But actually, it looks like that's the last one on the server. So whatever. We'll watch this one and then we'll watch the losses. Let's see what this guy did. Sequencer. Wait. Is this the same game we just saw? No, I don't think so. We'll tell by his Reaper micro if he denies my third base. Oh no, this guy's gasless. Wow. Yeah, he's playing 3cc. Yeah, there it is. So this is a 3cc build. Well, there you go. That's why he had the fast bunker. Now it all makes sense. So he's basically kind of doing a 2-1-1, but with 3ccs. And I probably should have told that it was a 3rd CC because of how late those buildings were, but honestly I didn't really know what he was doing. I'm basically just doing the same build and I'm going to kill him. As you can see, there should be 16 there, but I guess there's a couple of drones over here. So I'm probably at 41 drones. Yeah, I should be at 38, so I'm a little bit over. Press that D key a few extra times. And here we go. It's usually a good idea to have an extra group of Lings, so you don't like show off your main group. Like here I have 3 Lings on control group 1, and those are just my vanguard. So this guy, he's just going for delayed helions. As soon as his helions come out, there's a bunch of fucking Lings killing your shit, because pay attention, buddy. And he's gonna try and make a wall. But yeah, as you can see, I basically morph all of as much Bailings as I possibly can. Now, one of the things with this opener is they frequently will have Widow Mines, and you need to micro good against it. You'll see in my losses, I do not micro well against the Widow Mines. If you micro well, as you can see, the Widow Mines will actually do friendly damage to his units. This is actually very smart of him, and this is what they're going to try and do to stop you in many cases. If they can set up a proper wall, you'll end up wasting so many Bailings. You do need to smash that wall down, though, because if your Lings are basically fighting in like a little tiny choke like right here, they're just all going to die. So you need to give your Lings the surface area that they need. And in order to do that, you need to kill any wall that they're trying to establish with your Bailings. So if I had to do this again, I would just smash those Bailings into the barracks as soon as I possibly can. Yeah, luckily there was a little hole there and the Bailings got to the bunker. It's very common that they'll make their E-base in the natural, so the least that you need, as I stated earlier, is to kill all the SCVs down here and kill the E-base so that they don't get the upgrades. That's the least in order to transition to macro, I would say. So I know those Widow Mines are up there, and I'm going to keep basically baiting the shots. And now that I know the Widow Mines are on cooldown, I just keep going. Smell blood in the water, baby. And yeah, make use of your at least 3 control groups. Like as I said, I have 2 and 3. 2 for Lings, 3 for Banelings. And I can just steal some Lings and put them in control group 1 and send them a separate direction to do multi-prong damage if I need to. Ooh, that was a good Widow Mine hit. But as you can see, this game is pretty much over. I don't think he's even going to stay in the game. Maybe he will. So you definitely have to know when to transition. Like, I guess it's okay that I'm still rallying out Lings at this point. But as you can see, I've already started the transition fully. I'm on 64 drones, 2 Evos, started my layer a long time ago. So that's part of what you're doing here. Is it's a very customizable build in terms of how you transition. Because you have these 3 hatcheries, you see I'm already up to 6 queens. The 3 initial. And I can have much better creep spread if I was keeping up with my shit. So let me show you guys a couple losses, then we'll switch to NA and I'll show you one more win. And we'll probably call it. It is good to know how it's possible to die. It is kind of a pet peeve of mine when people post tutorials and it's all their wins, because you do want to know how shit goes wrong. So this is one of my first losses. Let's look at this one. What did I label that as? I don't actually remember this guy, but he's probably going to go for double factory. That's basically the worst thing you can play. Reactor helion is, you know, it's pretty bad. But if they pull out, if they switch the add-on, the reactor add-on with barracks, it can be good for you. If you surround their helions, it can be good for you. But double reactor factory, oh my god, that is hard to play against. You really need roaches in that case. So this guy's going overlord hunting, but I have that little path there. I've taken the front base again because I like that on this map. Letting my opponent know that the sun is out. So gotta close the blinds, turn off the lights. And he did float that barracks looking for the overlord, but I've escaped. Kind of path back through here. And what is he doing exactly? I guess he's on reactor factory. And yeah, there's the second factory. So as I said, I'm not really one to give up. Like, I've basically been doing this build every game. And even if I see them going double reactor factory, I'll still try and bust them. And that's going to be a little bit of a problem this game, because I'm basically just doing my thing. Like, I've already seen that he's going reactor helions. And at this point, I probably should throw down a Roach Warren and transition. I definitely need a Roach Warren, even if I want to go for the Ling Bane pressure. I need the Roach Warren, guaranteed. So that's my mistake. I don't throw it down. Oh, I should probably have the unit tab or the production tab open, eh? So yeah, also my Bane Nest was late. That's a big deal. Like I say in the build order to make it on 50 gas, that's actually really important. So that as soon as your Lings are rallied out there, you can make the Banes. If I had the Bane Nest earlier, like it could have been about 30 seconds earlier, or at least 20 seconds earlier, I might have been able to bust that depot and get in there before his Helion count got out of control. But because I had the later Bane Nest, now it's going to be even worse because he's getting even more Helions. And the more Helions that they have, the worse it is for you, really. Once they get up to like 10 Helions, it's really hard to surround 10 Helions. Pretty much damn near impossible. It is kind of weird, actually, now that I see it. Like, I'm not even bothered to check, but I mean, is there a reason why this guy is going for Blue Flame when he hasn't seen that I'm all-inning him? Seemed like a bit of a reaction to my play. but who knows? I don't care. It's being annoying with this liberator, but Spore Crawler and a queen should deal with that. Oh, and here's where everything went wrong. So, yeah, I basically sent half my Banelings ahead. I'm basically hoping that he's not going to be looking and the Banelings will just smash into his helions. And I go for this around, but I'm not able to get it. So in this case, I should probably have my typical move where I put some lings ahead of the helions, but I just tried to get my whole group ahead of the Zerglings, the helions, and it failed really badly. So he's basically kiting perfectly, and only a couple of my lings are actually attacking. So I realized this, but way too late. I pull the lings back, and I kind of try and juke him, pull the lings back and the Banelings forward, but it doesn't work. He's like too good for my juke. He pulls back just in time. So basically I lose like everything. Now even so, this wouldn't have been like that bad. I have 46 drones to his 31 SCVs. The problem is, I thought I had actually built a Roach Warren. Like, I actually thought I had it built and finished. And then I realized it wasn't finished. And I'm like, oh shit, I have no Roach Warren. Fuck. Now what? So, yeah. I really don't want to make more Zerglings, because they're pretty useless against mech and against helions in general. So I'm kind of just trying to make drones and be greedy and pull all my queens to the front. But he's not gonna be, like, what I mean to say is he's not gonna, like some Terrans, they'll play it safe, they won't just run in, but he's definitely gonna test the waters, and he's gonna find out that I don't have the defense I need. So I brought all my queens to the front because I knew that he had a lot of helions, and I tried to make a spine crawler, but it wasn't built in time. In this kind of situation, you don't move all your queens at once, you pull them back one by one, so it's hard for him to focus fire down each queen individually. And against the Hellbats, you do want Banelings, so I morphed Banelings. So even with not making the Roach Warren, I still am not going to die to this. Even with such a late Roach Warren, I can still basically move into a regular game, kind of. Where I have like 50 drones to his 43 SCVs. And what are the upgrades? He's only got Blue Flame, and I have +1 on the way. He has +1 on the way. So I actually think that this game is somewhat even. I mean, his position is probably a little bit better than mine, but I definitely could have won. It's more of a compositional and micro errors as the game went on. He just outplayed me. I'm going to try and go for the same unit composition that I went for in the last mech game, which is Roach Swarmhost. But this guy had much better control. Like, my Swarmhost didn't do enough damage, and he managed to counterattack and kill me. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. But the point is, this, even with such a bad opener, I've still managed to actually bring this game into somewhat of a winnable scenario. Just from adapting my opener based on what I'm seeing. So I guess that's the takeaway from this, is that you have to adapt based on what you're scouting. And it's a very versatile opener. Let me show you guys one more loss. Ooh, we're closing in on an hour. Maybe we'll have an hour-long tutorial, I guess. Yeah, let's show one more loss. Oh, this is a poor ling splits. This guy had some Widow Mines, and I did not split my lings appropriately. So, I guess I'll show on my cam, since I've kind of been neglecting to do that. I did show you guys the build in the original custom game, so I kind of assume you know what it is at this point. This was one of my recent games, so I should be having the build order pretty crisp as I've detailed it in the build order notes, but we'll see, we'll see. So just rally those additional drones into the gas there. And I always say, hey, good luck, like Stefano style with the comma. And I only say it after my drones are perfectly lined up on the mineral lines. So he's commenting I have a late greeting. So this guy going for a pretty standard build. Second barracks, second gas, 2-1-1. I guess it's 2-1-1, I'm pretty sure. So he manages to kill a drone there. And then he just, like, even after he kills the drone, he sticks right next to the queen. That was, like, a really dumb idea, if you ask me. I would have just taken my drone and run with it. And then he's kind of, like, mad that he lost the Reaper. Well, what did you expect, man? Like, how greedy are you? How greedy are you, bro? So, yeah, it's 3:30. And those drones literally just popped. It was like 9, and then it went up to 14, so hopefully I start the second gas, like right now. Yep, there it is. And he scanned for my Overlord, which is interesting. So that's one of the things, like, I used to find that this build order was a free win against 2-1-1. But the really good Terrans have insane Marine splits, so you need to be splitting your lings just as insanely good as they split their Marines. And another thing that they do is you need to keep track of where the medevacs are. Oftentimes they'll fly away and it looks like they're going to go fly to your base, so you start pooling lings to defend, but really they're just chilling over here and they fly back and unload. So Terrans will be very tricky with where they place their units, and you need to keep track of where their army is and where their medevacs are. So in this case, I thought I was free to poke in here and maybe get an SCV or two, but in retrospect I probably would not want to do that because I want to save those lings. I didn't know that his army was over here. So I thought I could just come in here and kill SCV and run away. I ended up getting that Marine. But then all these Marines show up and kill me. So I'm not sure that was worth it. 1 Marine for like 4 links. Probably not, because I want as many links as I possibly can for this all-in. But sometimes sending in a couple lings ahead of the pack will give you really valuable scouting information. So it's hard to say. So as you can see, I've morphed all of my available gas into Balings. And here we go, injecting off 3 bases. Yeah, because this is such a fast-paced, high adrenaline opener, it'll definitely make you good on injecting under pressure, I'll tell you that. Make sure you're hitting those injects, because in Legacy of the Void, you can hit it on 25 energy, even if the hatchery is already injected. So if you miss your first inject, that's okay. Just make sure you hit your second one early. Like this one's going to be ready in 6 seconds right here, so I don't have to wait for the inject to pop. I can hit that in 6 seconds. But also, that being said, you probably want to inject all your hatcheries at the same time. It's more time efficient. Try and line them up. So here we go. And as I said, if they have a wall, you need to bust it down to give your Zerglings the surface area that they need to basically connect with the Marines. So that's what I'm going to do. Now that I've killed the wall, I actually want these Balings in the same control group as my Zerglings, because I don't want them acting in 2 groups. I want these Balings to bust into the Marines, basically. So it looked like that started off pretty well for me. But one of the really smart things that this guy did, and that other lower level players have been doing, is he has his factory still on the reactor, which is going to allow him to make the right units that he needs. So at this point, I definitely have not done enough damage. Like I said, I need to kill those E-base and get all the SCVs. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not transitioning at all. This is just keep making lings. And holy shit, my injects are bad. You guys did not see that. And I have a little bit extra money now. Okay. Well, that's one of the things. You can kill your money on the Balings, even if your injects are terrible, but your injects should not be this bad. So here we go. And this is going to be a really bad Bane hit coming up here. Or mine hit. So I saw the mine. I think I saw the mine. Yeah, I saw the mine. And I didn't react. And when you're doing this all in and you lose like this much to a mine, well, if you lose, what is that? Yeah, if you lose like 10 lings and Banes to 1 mine, you're going to be pretty fucked. So you need really good splits. I mean, this is an all-in that requires good micro. You can't just give away like half your army to 1 Widow mine. So at this point, I'm in a lot of trouble after that mine hit went off, and he's re-walling with the command center, which is quite a lot of HP. And also, you don't want to be busting down these engineering bays. They're a lot of HP. That was a somewhat reasonable split, but at this point, I'm really in trouble in terms of the amount of units I have. Like, I'm keeping the aggro on because I have to, but he just has more stuff than me at this point. Like, I mean, he's only producing off 2 barracks, and a factory, and a starport, but I'm rallying cross-map, and I just don't have much stuff here. That was another bad mine hit, but I mean, at this point, there's so many mines, it's hard to dodge them all. And another one. That mine. All these mines have so many kills. That's another thing, like, really good players, they'll detonate, like, 2 banelings to kill a mine, and they'll know where the mine is, and they'll detonate it on top of the mine without even seeing it. So, that's another thing that really good players can do, in terms of increasing the potency of this build by their skill. So yeah, this guy had a really nice hold here. And at this point, he has 2 eBays, and I don't even have my Evo started, so I don't even know if I... Do I GG right now? Yeah. Like in the past, I might have tried to transition this to a macro game, but I'm not really... I'm not going to waste my time on that kind of thing. Just keep all in because you can't transition at this point. And I think I'm probably just going to GG out once I realize I'm fucked. Yeah. Once I saw that the Liberator, I'm like, oh my god, yeah. How the fuck am I going to break through a Liberator now? So, yeah. I didn't really realize that he was only on 2 barracks production. I guess that's the only thing I have going for me. His production is pretty low, but it would be really hard to bring this back to a macro game, considering, well, he's only on 2 CC, but we have the same worker count, and he has 1-1 completed. I haven't even started my Evos. And he has all these Widow Mines too, which is pretty valuable for him. Let's see, was there another replay? Ah, yeah. Let me show you guys one more. I think that one was on EU. So yeah, this is going to be against the standard 2-1-1. My execution was really bad. I think I got supply blocked hugely, but it shows you that even with a huge supply block, this build is pretty freaking powerful against 1-1-1. So supply depot, barracks, of course. I guess he's going to go Reaper. No, he's going Marine. Okay. And second barracks, factory. Okay, so he's basically doing the 2-1-1 without the Reaper, which is pretty good, I guess, for me. You don't really want them to go Reaper when you're doing this build. If they do go Reaper, try and hunt down their Reaper with 4 to 6 Zerglings and hide the rest of your Zerglings. Like, you would send these 6 links as soon as they get speed, send them out on the map to look for that Reaper so that your main group of links is hidden. Typically, they'll just leave their Reaper by your 3rd base or over here or just somewhere on the map, like on a common path. So, I have this labeled as suboptimal execution. I think I'm going to get supply blocked on 58. Maybe not. I don't know what I did wrong. Oh, my Bane Nest is probably late. Yeah. Already 100 gas and I have no Bane Nest, which is pretty huge. I do that pretty often and it's a really bad mistake to make, because you need those banelings sooner rather than later. And because I went for the late Bane Nest, I'm not going to be able to bust his bunker and his wall. And he's going to be able to send his 2-1-1 and reach my base in time. However, if you do forget your bayonets and you find yourself in a similar situation to me here, where I'm late on my timing, you basically need to realize that their medevacs will probably leave their base at around 440 to 450 if they're doing it right, and they're going to be arriving to your base around 520. So as we reach around 450, you need to be rallying additional Zerglings to your home base. Unless they don't leave with the medevacs. Like, you need to know when the medevacs are leaving. You can tell by poking in with Lings and with Overlords. If the medevacs leave, you pull your additional Lings at home. If the medevacs come back, you send those Lings that you have at home into the main fight immediately. But you need to keep in mind on the timer. So as you can see here, he's going to end up loading up those Marines. I'm kind of playing with him with these 4 Lings. He doesn't know that I'm all-inning him. He can't know. He just basically sees 4 Lings there, which is pretty common. There's the load up, a little bit late. And there's the Baylings morphing. If I have a Bay Nest, yeah. So the Bay morph is pretty late. It's already 520. I've actually kind of made a mistake this game. I'm not even following the advice, which I've just given you guys. These 14 Lings should be in Control Group 1 and preparing to defend. In fact, if he had been a better player, he might have already been on my side of the map. I did delay him with those little Zergling pokes. But yeah, at this point I need to have a nice group of Lings waiting at home, because I saw those medevacs move out, so I know he's coming for me. However, as long as you can save some of your drones, this can actually turn into a pretty nice base trade if you kill all their SCVs. So yeah, this is just really, really late. Now, because it's so late, I've already started spine crawlers in the natural, because I've seen it's way past 520. And these additional 10 Lings, they are on Control Group 1. It's just a little bit late. They should have been out. Some of these Lings should have been on Control Group 1 too. But anyway, here we go. Always poke with a small group of Lings so that you don't just die everything to one Bailing. Widowmine. And there you go. Half of the Bailings are still back here, apparently. And so here, I like to just break off some Lings and put them here. I can use Control Group 4 for that, because Control Group 1 is defending at home. And I've also saved those drones. You can use the drones to fight, but you typically don't want to. It's best case scenario if you just run the drones to a safe base. That hatchery is 1500 HP, so let the hatchery take some damage while you're pooling your Lings and preparing to kill the Marines. As soon as you bust the natural wall, you want to kill all of his SCVs, and you also want to bust this wall so you can get into the main. So you definitely want to save some Bailings for that depot if you can. And also, you really, in almost all cases, need to have the Bailings on a separate hotkey, because if they're on the same hotkey as your Lings, what will happen is that your Lings will be trying to, like, headbutt against the depot, and the Bailings won't be able to reach it. So you need to pull the Lings back and send the Bailings in. That's actually what's happening here. Even though I have it on a separate control group, those Lings are just being dumb. And so because of those Lings are basically blocking the Bailings, only one Bailing was able to hit the depot at a time, and he's able to repair the Bailing damage as it happens. So that was a micro mistake by me. And that was a big one by him, just not splitting. So I ran the drones from the natural while I was defending. So this is going to be pretty good for me. Don't be surprised if they don't GG you when you're doing this build, because it's pretty freaking badass, boys. So that's pretty much it. I think I showed you guys 9 replays today. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Yeah. Also, check out my stream at twitch.tv/trafficxxx. Definitely planning a few streams in the near future. And always just having some fun. And by the way, if you know any clans that are about high master to low GM, my clan, Polygon Gaming, is running a team league, and we're looking for teams. So if you're interested, message me, and I can get you in touch with the manager, Malcolm. So that's pretty much it, boys. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video, what are you waiting for? Hit that damn like button. And till next time, boys and girls. Have a good day. Oh, happy 4th of July.